If your kids take piano lessons, you need a piano in your home. Rent a new Baldwin from Washburn Musicland for just $25 a month. Washburn Musicland, 4 locations.
The Browns meet the Eagles, 11 a.m. Sunday on KPNX TV 12.
From Channel 12, Arizona's leading news station, this is Action News.
Good evening, I'm Cheryl Parker.
And I'm Bill Blannon. 5 people are dead tonight, the result of an ambush from Ku Klux Klansmen on an anti-KKK march in Greensboro, North Carolina. The march started peacefully with anti-Klan slogans, but soon gunfire erupted. Police say a van load of Klansmen drove up to the anti-Klan group, leaped out, and started firing. These pictures were taken by a news photographer wounded in that shooting. He was one of 10 people wounded. Reporters say they saw the Klansmen open fire first, but that some of the marchers returned the fire. The march was through a black section of Greensboro and was organized by a group said to be communist affiliated. Meanwhile, in Dallas, 50 KKK members paraded through downtown. They were followed by hundreds of riot-equipped policemen. Police say this is the first Klan demonstration in Dallas in 60 years. Despite the police protection, fights broke out. There were threats, but no injuries. 3 people were arrested on disorderly conduct charges.
Mamie Eisenhower was buried today in Abilene, Kansas, alongside her husband, the late President Dwight Eisenhower. The service was small, only about 35 family, friends, and relatives, including former President Nixon, his wife, his daughter Julie, and her husband David Eisenhower. Mamie was buried near a small family chapel that Dwight Eisenhower called the place of meditation. Mamie Eisenhower died Thursday, 2 weeks short of her 83rd birthday. She suffered a stroke in late September and had been in a Washington hospital since then. In South Korea, funeral services were held for that country's slain President Park Chung-hee. Millions of people lined the streets of Seoul for a 2-hour procession to the cemetery. At the burial, envoys from all over the world paid last respects. President Carter's son Chip and Secretary of State Vance represented the United States. Vance again promised support for South Korea.
For our part, I have reaffirmed to them the continuing U.S. commitment to the peace and security of the Republic of Korea. They, in turn, assured me that the armed forces of the Republic of Korea support the civilian government and will defend their country against outside interference.
Military officers have decided that South Korea's constitution must be changed. It formed the base of Park's repressive government.
13 people are known dead from a tremendous earthquake that ripped through Java, Indonesia. Communications to many villages in western Java have been cut off, and authorities don't know how high the final toll may climb. Many more people have been severely injured, but rescue efforts are being hampered by torrential rains. The quake measured 6.4 on the Richter scale. A Federal Aviation Administration investigator says pilot error was the cause of that jet crash in Mexico City earlier this week that killed 79 people. Preliminary evidence shows the pilot tried to land even though he could not see the runway nor the crews working below him. The jumbo jet came down, hitting a repair truck and smashing into a storage building.
With 3 days to go before the Phoenix City election, the debate between freeway and grid plan supporters is heating up. Kathy Mann reports.
Political or non-political? That's the question at the center of a new controversy involving Proposition 200, the Phoenix Grid Plan Initiative. Grid Plan supporters say it is political and that the Samaritan Health Service is taking advantage of its tax-exempt status by mailing out pro-freeway literature at taxpayers' expense. Nonprofit corporations are prohibited from political activity. But officials at Samaritan say it's not a political issue, but a health matter.
Well, our interest in this whole freeway issue relates to accessibility to health care services for Phoenix and the metropolitan Phoenix residents. And it is important in terms of keeping health care costs lower and assuring rapid access to the major facilities in downtown Phoenix.
Grid Plan supporters don't buy that argument.
I think their basic motivation on this is just to have an exit from the Papago Freeway into their rear door, and they want the people of Phoenix to, in one way or another, supplement this, and I'm not sure that they do want to supplement a project like this at taxpayer expense.
The Internal Revenue Service will make the final decision on whether Samaritan Health can be involved in this controversy. Grid Plan supporters wrote a letter alerting the IRS to possible violations. Kathy Mann, TV 12 Action News.
Coming up, the U.S. satellite Pegasus 2 falls to Earth harmlessly.
And solar heated and cooled homes in Phoenix that could cut your utility bill in half.
This is an emergency sale of oil paintings. A depression in the art market has forced many art show operators out of business. Crossroads Gallery bought thousands of their paintings for pennies on the dollar and shipped them here for liquidation. Save up to 75%. For example, beautiful giant sofa-sized paintings, just $10. 12 by 16s, $4. Other sizes too, plus very fine expensive oil paintings at giveaway prices. This fabulous collection will be sold out first come, first serve this Sunday only, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Phoenix Civic Plaza downtown. Free admission.
Today's cowboys, foreign investments, Navajo coal, unique gifts, plus the home buyer's guide, all in this month's Phoenix, the magazine Phoenix lives by. Buy it.
You can now rent the 1979 Chrysler Cordoba or LeBaron any weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with no mileage charge for just $58 at Fiesta Rent-A-Car, 4545 North Scottsdale Road.
Robert Wagner may be an actor, but he's also a shrewd businessman. Read his story in the new issue of TV Guide.
How would you like to remake your house into a solar home and recover the cost and less heating and cooling in 4 years? Gene McLean says a local home builder thinks he can show you how by next June.
Long has a $25,000 grant from the state solar energy office. He'll convert this unfinished house into a solar home as an experiment. Long's hired a noted solar architect to design rollaway overhangs to control the sun.
You mean you'll have a glass wall on the south side of the house?
That's right.
And how will that eliminate the heat?
We will be venting the heat out in the summer, so we're going to be maintaining a cool wall. There will be no sun in that glass in the summer. And in addition, we'll be taking the heat out from the sides that does get behind the glass.
Long thinks he can do it for $2,000 to $3,000, and he thinks it'll cut cooling and heating costs $50 to $100 a month.
So John Long will produce a pamphlet telling other builders and do-it-yourselfers what he learned about controlling the sun. Gene McLean, TV 12 Action News.
The state income tax rebate could cut the cost 35% and federal tax rebates even more. And you were talking about sunshine earlier this week, but sounds more like snow up in the north now.
Yeah, we've got a storm coming this way, a little snow above the 8,000-foot level. So I wouldn't really get my skis out yet because the storm is kind of on the weak side, but we do have one coming. We'll talk about that in just a second. But today, our statistics are just great. The high this afternoon was 81 degrees. That's after a fairly chilly low this morning of 46. Currently outside at 70 degrees. The barometer stands at 29.85 and steady. Our humidity is 17%, and winds are from the west-northwest at 3. On our U.S. map, we have the high temperatures posted from this afternoon. 30s and 40s were pretty common. That's because of a cold Canadian air mass that's over the central two-thirds of the country. 30s up in North Dakota and some 40s in Minnesota and over in Wisconsin. But we'll have to back up to the East Coast to find this weather system that's taken a whole week to move across the country. Rain from it still lingers along North Carolina and down into Florida. But the major part of the rain was in Massachusetts today. The past 6 hours, Boston and Nantucket both had close to ½ an inch. A few showers are developing, of course, in the west coast, and we'll just focus in on the storm out here. This is the one that we're concerned with right now. It's centered over east central Nebraska. Travelers' advisories are already in effect for the Lake Tahoe area and in the high Sierras of California. The snow level there is going to be between the 5,000 and 7,000 foot level. Now, if you've looked outside lately, you'll notice that clouds are already starting to stream into Arizona from the west. Showers are going to be developing in the northern part of our state tomorrow. Snow level will be about 8,000 foot, about the 8,000 foot level. We'll check that a little bit more in just a second. First of all, let's look at the national extremes. The high this afternoon in the country, 89 degrees, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's after a low this morning of 3, count them 3, Alamosa, Colorado. Now, like Cheryl and I said, we did have a beautiful day in Arizona today. Changes are on the way, my friend. They're coming in from the west because of that storm. Let's jump up to the satellite and see how that looked today. Now, if you look on the left side of your screen, watch the clouds move toward Arizona, which is in the center. And that bright batch up at the top is the main batch of clouds that's right with the center of the storm. Now, the center of that storm looks like it is going to stay to the north of Arizona. Unfortunately, the clouds and showers are not. Now, we'll come back to our state map. We can figure off and on clouds in the state. Tomorrow, a few showers in the northern half of the state. Specifically, Grand Canyon will get rained on. Flagstaff probably. I'd rate Payson and Prescott maybes for some showers tomorrow. Once again, snow level will be about 8,000 feet. That will not put snow into Flagstaff. Some of the higher ski resorts could get a little bit of snow, but there's not a great deal of moisture with this system, so it doesn't look like the amounts will be very much, maybe an inch or so. Now, also with this system, as it's moving toward us, we're going to have some wind tomorrow, about 35 miles an hour in the northern half of the state. Open desert areas will be about 25 down here, so if you are traveling across the open desert tomorrow, you might want to be kind of careful from that. Now, on Monday, the rain threat with that first system is going to pass on to the east of us. Part of the storm will linger off the coast, so it's going to keep kind of squirting clouds our way over the next couple of days. We'll have maybe another rain threat in about the middle of next week. Let's take a look at my forecast for Phoenix and our lovely valley. Tonight, it'll be cloudy skies, the low temperature of 52. Tomorrow, periods of high clouds. It'll be a little bit breezy, especially in the afternoon. We'll have a high temperature of 77. And then on Monday, a few more clouds hanging around, a low temperature of 50 and a high of 75.
It's not bad.
Not bad. No rain in the valley yet. We'll keep an eye on it, though, for about the middle of next week, from the next one.
Good.
Okay, Ed. Senator Edward Kennedy offers another challenge to President Carter. We'll have that story when we come back.